So these big murals here, this corner and this corner.
Yeah, that's what it was.
To your right, you can see Belfast City Hall, built back in 1906 on the site of the old White Linen Hall. The building features a prominent statue of Queen Victoria at the front. The reason being that it was Queen Victoria who granted Belfast its city status. During the Victorian era, Belfast became a very prosperous and wealthy city, expanding its population rapidly due to the huge growth in the linen industry, which was thanks to the shortage of cotton across Europe caused by the American Civil War. We are now driving down Chichester Street, which is named after Lord Chichester. On the left and of the street, you can see one of the old Burial Bank buildings, which were built to house all the money sent here to pay for linen purchases, as well as for the ships built in the Harland Wharf shipyard. Things had to be paid for in cash, or maybe even gold, as there was no such thing as bank transfers in those days, so Belfast needed lots of banks. Today, a lot of these lovely buildings have been converted into hotels or pubs, and they have been very successful. Imagine, a pub doing well in Ireland? A mystery! We are turning left into Victoria Street, and on the right, the red brick building is Belfast's Old Town Hall, recently used as a courthouse and now lying vacant. Maybe someone should open a pub in it. Next on the left, you can see a yellow featured fountain, which is the Jaffa Memorial at the entrance to Victoria Square shopping mall. Lord Jaffa was the first and so far the only Jewish Lord Mayor of Belfast. After the memorial is Bittles Bar, the thinnest bar in Belfast. In front of us, we can see the Albert Memorial Clock Tower, known as Belfast's answer to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The clock tilts to the right and also towards us. The reason for the tilt is because where the clock stands was once where the River Farset ran. The river was diverted and the marshy land was reclaimed, but the clock tower was built on a foundation of wooden beams, which eventually rotted and the clock tilted. Local people will tell you a different story, and that is because this is the area of the old docks of Belfast where the Victorian red light district was. It is said the ladies of the night would lean against the clock waiting for the sailors to arrive, and that this pushed the clock over. On the left is the Custom House and Custom House Square. This was a good place to have the customs office, right beside the dock. Here you can also see the Big Fish sculpture, which is made up of hundreds of small tiles. Each tile was made by a different primary school from across Belfast. The River Lagan, the largest river in Belfast, which flows into Belfast Lough on our left. We are going to turn left into Queen's Island, and in front of us we can see Belfast's Millennium Project, which is the home of the Odyssey complex. The complex includes a bowling alley, a cinema, various restaurants and pubs, plus an arena. The arena is an ice rink and is the home of the Belfast Giants ice hockey team. Ice hockey is the first cross-community sport in Belfast, and the Giants are a very successful team, which has performed extremely well in the UK's Elite Ice Hockey League. Why is this? Well, the Giants employ Americans and Canadians to come and play for us, as they are really good at it. At one point, when deciding on a name for the team, the name Belfast Bombers was proposed, but it was decided against for obvious reasons. We are now driving into the Titanic Quarter, named after the ill-fated liner the Titanic. The Titanic sank on the 14th of April 1912, but despite this terrible tragedy, with over 1,500 people losing their lives, the people of Belfast are very proud that the Titanic was built here in the shipyard of Harland and Wolff. We have a saying here in Belfast that the Titanic was alright when it left Belfast. This whole area was the shipyard of Harland and Wolff until the early 2000s, when redevelopment of what is now called the Titanic Quarter started. On the left is the SS Nomadic, the only remaining ship still afloat from the White Star Line. This ship was built to shuttle mail, baggage and passengers to the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic, when they were at Cherbourg, as these large ships themselves were too big to dock in the French port. Tours of the Nomadic are available. On the left, the large building in the shape of a star is the Titanic Experience Building, which is a huge tourist attraction. It has a tour explaining everything about the Titanic, from its conception to its tragic sinking on its maiden voyage. The red brick building on the left is the old drawing rooms of the shipyard, which is where the Titanic was designed. Today, this building has been transformed into a hotel named the Titanic Hotel. It is very popular with wedding parties, and, believe it or not, people have been known to have a few beverages at an Irish wedding, and maybe even enjoy themselves a bit. The large grey building on the left is Titanic Studios, and this was once the paint room for the shipyard. It is now a movie studio, and amongst other productions, this is where a lot of the Game of Thrones interior sets were filmed by HBO. Belfast has become a great place to make movies and TV shows over the last 20 years or more, and is fast becoming the Hollywood of Europe. On the left, you will see the HMS Caroline, which is the only still floating warship from the Battle of Jutland in 1916 during the First World War. It was used as a cadet training vessel for a time, and it is now used as a maritime museum. Tours of the ship are available. Locally, it is known as the HMS Never Budges, as it hasn't moved for so long. In the distance on the left, you can see a red brick building, which is the pump house, and the Thompson dry dock is below it. This is where the Titanic was fitted out with the likes of its grand staircase and luxury cabins, before leaving Belfast for sea trials.